All right, Jackson, Mississippi, and all surrounding areas. You have tuned in to the Save JXN on the radio and the Save JXN podcast right here on WYB 103.9 FM in Jackson, Mississippi. You can also find this very show on all major podcast networks from iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, and more. Just search Save JXN. That is Jackson, JXN. All right, my name is Clay Edwards. I have my beautiful wife, Crystal Edwards, right beside me. Crystal, how are you?
I'm doing awesome.
So, it's been a week since our first podcast. What'd you think about it?
I thought it went great. A lot has gone on since then, for sure.
You know, it seems like we're living a year in every week as far as craziness that goes on in the world.
It does.
You know, it's like last week, we're like, oh, it's just a normal week. And then just little stuff. It doesn't necessarily affect our day-to-day lives, but, you know, Mississippi State got embarrassed by Kentucky. Then our favorite son, Dak Prescott, broke his ankle in half the next day. And for us Mississippi State fans, it was absolutely the worst case scenario of any football weekend that could ever unfold outside of that loss being to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So I have pretty much tapped out on the football season.
We lost Eddie Van Halen.
We lost Eddie Van Halen. Let's throw that little bit of salt in there. Just the GOAT of all time. No questions asked when it comes to guitar playing and song structure and just everything that goes into being what a rock star is. Eddie Van Halen is the guy. If you don't know a Van Halen song, I feel sorry for you. And we'll just say that.
Yeah.
He even played on Michael Jackson's Beat It. So, man, Eddie, what a legend. The first video that I ever recall seeing on MTV, I'm not saying it's the first I ever saw, but the first one that I remember seeing was Jump.
That's what I told you.
Around 80, 83, 84, 85, somewhere in there. I know it came out in 84, so it was probably 84. And man, just talk about changing your life forever. Mm-hmm. You know, and then every blonde-haired lead singer after that wanted to be David Lee Roth. Every guitar player wanted to tap like Eddie Van Halen and play Eruption and all that. So what a huge loss for music, but what an amazing person. If you look back at everything that Eddie influenced, there wouldn't be a Motley Crue, a Poison, you know, any of that 80. There wouldn't be a Guns N' Roses without a Van Halen. So, you know, we definitely we're gonna pour one out for Eddie. You know, we've been jamming his music all week, so we definitely lost a legend there. Well, look, moving on. We do have some sponsors here on Save JXN Radio, the Save JXN Podcast, right here on WYAB 103.9 in Jackson. We are coming at you live from the USA Pawn Studios right here in South Jackson. You can do all of your online shopping at usapawn.com. Loans, gold, silver, diamonds, TVs, guns, computers, game systems, loans, and more. Check them out at one of their 6 metro area locations, the McDowell Road Megastore, Woodrow Wilson, Ellis Avenue, Pearl, Canton, and Vicksburg. Again, check them out online at usapawn.com and tell them that Save JXN sent you. If you live south of I-20, you're looking to get in shape. Maybe you're looking for another gym. Maybe you've recently moved out here. Whatever the case may be, the gym at Byram is your number one location, destination for fitness and more. Indoor basketball, swimming pool, fitness classes, weight training, cardio, tanning, and more. Check them out online, thegym@byram.com. Give them a call today, 372-2229. That is 601-372-2229. And of course, they're on all social media outlets at the gym at Byram. Tell them that Clay and Crystal from Save JXN sent you over. They are waiving all joining fees this month. And if you sign up for a personal training course, you get 2 additional classes free of charge. And those things are worth their weight in gold. Let me tell you, I've been working out there for a couple of years, and I watched them cats run around there and do that personal training. And I feel sorry for them. And I mean that in a good way. They're getting a much better workout than I am in there without the motivation. I've actually this week been contemplating getting with one of their personal trainers to kind of get my fitness back on track after missing a year or so with shoulder surgery. So again, the gym at Byram.com. And last but not least, our good friend Danny White, born and raised in South Jackson. Give him a call today at Father and Son Southern Lawncare. Anywhere in the Tri-County area, if you need your yard cut, manicured, taken care of, any of that, even through the winter months, give them a call today, 601-301-3210. That is Father and Son Southern Lawncare, based out of South Jackson. They're working out of Brandon, Pearl, Florence, Richland, Byram, Clinton, all of the Tri-County suburbs. Give them a call today. All right, Crystal. Man, crazy week, as usual.
For sure.
How was your week?
It was good.
It was good? You feeling good?
Pretty good.
Did you enjoy our trip to the fair?
It was fun. I enjoy getting out and seeing people.
You know, I've been high as a kite all week. Not from any drugs or anything.
High as a kite.
High as a kite. From getting out and getting back around friends that I have not seen basically since our wedding in December. Mm-hmm. Between A, just adulting, and B, the COVID and the lockdowns and the shutdowns and the tyrannical nonsense going on in the world. There's been friends that I have not seen in forever.
I didn't even recognize some of them.
I know.
First, I felt bad.
I saw one friend that's lost about 50 pounds. And I'm like, hey, I found it. I found it right over here. If you lost it, I know where it is. It's on me. But it was so good just to get out and sit around, drink a beer, and communicate and chill with your friends. You cannot replace that in nothing else that you do. I mean, just socializing, friends, family, whatever. And it's really made me appreciate that. If I come out of 2020 with nothing else, it is appreciating my time with my friends and family and just being able to woosah and hang out and chill out. So something new we're going to start this week is we want to start the show off with a Bible verse of the week. Just something to take our minds off of everything, take a deep breath, leave the troubles of the world behind us. Breathe in, breathe out, woosah. I asked Crystal to pick a Bible verse. Here's what she chose for us. Hebrews 4:12. For the word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing to the dividing of soul and spirit, of both joints and marrow, discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart. Hebrews 4:12. Crystal, that is a great choice. And given all that's going on in the world today, it is very, very fitting. So thank you for that one. I actually never read Hebrews 4:12 before. So good choice there, and looking forward to implementing that in the rest of my week. All right, so let's jump in. I got called yesterday. I was off work. I was getting my hair cut. A buddy of mine called me. He's like, hey, do you want to take a tour of the old federal courthouse downtown? They're remodeling it to make it condos and a restaurant. And by condos, I mean, they're apartments. But anything that's not cookie cutter like every apartment complex in the world, I call condos. So the condos.
That's the fancy word.
It's the fancy word for apartments. They are not for buy. You have to rent them. But so he calls me up, man. I meet him down there. And the project manager, Sonny, over the whole thing between there and the Walthall Lofts meets us. Very unexpected. I didn't know he was. And just gives us, because I felt like being an urban explorer, I feel like anytime I'm in somewhere like that, I'm in there illegally and going to get arrested for trespassing at any moment. So when the owner rolls up and he just gives us this top to bottom tour into every crevice of the old federal courthouse and post office there on Capitol Street, it was just so cool. I'm like, can I take pictures? He's like, yeah, take as many as you want. He let us go live on Facebook and everything. So it was super cool. Man, Man, I cannot tell you how awesome that place is. As a, with kids and everything, it's not feasible
for us.
For us. But man, if if you're a young couple or single or straight out of college, right early into your career,
or retired,
basically just without young kids.
Yeah.
If you were looking for somewhere unique and fun and hip and all those type things, the old federal courthouse and the former Edison Walthall Hotel, the Walthall Lofts, they are your place. Check them out online. WalthallLofts.com. This is not a paid advertisement, nothing like that. This is just me telling you about something cool. Go check it out. We got some pictures up on our social media channels at Save JXN across all social media platforms.
And they have a marketplace.
Yep. So if you're familiar with Cultivation Food Hall there at Eastover, it's basically it's like a food court in the mall. And there's 5 or 6, 7 different restaurants that kind of are just getting started. And instead of having to go rent a brick and mortar building all on their own and do everything, they're kind of able to slide into a small spot and test out their format. Well, that's what they're going to be doing there. And it's also going to have a huge communal bar in the middle. And they're going to sell, well, aside from drinks and all that, they're also going to sell like fresh vegetables and produce and all that stuff for people who live in the building.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, they can come down. Because if you live downtown, that there are some logistical issues right now because there's not a grocery store, but there will be. They're working on that. It is not just in the plans, it's under construction right next door in the old, I call it the Center City Complex, and I know that's not the correct name, but it's right there on the corner of Lamar Street and Capitol. So that's going to be really nice, and we're going to get in there soon too and talk to those owners. They've invited us over to take a look at that as well. So look, downtown is that business district, as bad as stuff as I'll talk about Jackson. That business district is exempt. They do a lot. It is safe downtown, and when I say downtown, I'm talking about the Capitol Street business district area by One Jackson Place, the Governor's Mansion, all of that. Man, look, they're taking care of that. They know that last little bit of tax base, it might as well be Fort Knox down there.
Yeah.
Even when we owned the club 105 down there, before they reinvested into the area, it was extremely, per capita, it was the lowest crime area in the city. Until we got there. All right, so look, check that out, WalthallLofts.com. Really cool. Great people. I was blown away at the hospitality. I didn't pay them. They didn't pay me. It was just one of those cool, hey, come check this out. It was a great organic deal.
See what you think. Yeah.
Yep. I really enjoyed it. All right. So the fair's in town. We talked about that. Crazy thing happened at the fair. So 2 of the 80s hair metal bands were playing, Slaughter and Great White.
Right.
Slaughter rocked out, loudest concert I've ever been to, which is kind of funny. The 2 loudest concerts I've ever been to.
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Were in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And Slaughter played on both shows. One was at the old rodeos out in out in North Jackson, back in around 98, 99. It was the Rock Never Stops tour. It was Warrant, Quiet Riot, and Slaughter.
Okay.
I could not hear for 2 weeks after that show. And I was young then. 18, 19, 20, 21, something like that. So, fast forward to 2020, Slaughter is playing again. And this one's outdoors. And it's one of the loudest shows.
It was fun.
It was absolutely fun, but it was so loud. I loved it. This is not a complaint. But very loud. And maybe it's just the fact that I haven't been to a concert since March.
Yeah.
So it may not have been as loud as I thought it was, but when the last show we went to was in Memphis for Post Malone with our daughters, and we got back home and 2 days later, COVID strikes.
They never went back to school.
Never went back to school. So Slaughter rocked out, man. Those guys still look every bit of 30 years old. It is amazing what some hair dye and makeup will do. Mark Slaughter sounds great. But look, I'm not gonna bore y'all. This is not a concert review. We're working towards something here. Great White is getting ready to go on. And one of the first concerts, when I got into little baby concert promoter, the very first concert I was ever a part of bringing to Jackson was we brought Great White to Buffalo Chips out in North Jackson, right on the reservoir, right next to Shuckers, where the boat place is.
Right.
I go pick up the original lead singer from the hotel. I'm like, Clay, go pick up Jack from the hotel. I was like, Jack, Russell, the singer, once bitten, twice shy, MTV, I get to meet him? You know, and they're like, yeah, go pick him up, but don't act like a nerd when you do it. You know, don't act like a groupie.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. It's like 8 a.m. They're staying at the Red Roof Inn, right off County Line, there behind Whataburger. That should have
Whataburger?
Yeah. That should have been a flashing red warning sign.
They're behind Whataburger at Red Roof Inn.
At Red Roof Inn. Now, granted, you know, keep in mind this is 98, 99. It was not as bad in that area as it is now. So I go knock on the door, and I open the door, and he's like, "Are you the runner?" That's what they call it in the concert business, the runner, the guy that runs the errands or girl or whatever, runs the band around.
Picks them up.
Yep. It takes them back and forth from the venue to their hotel and anywhere else they need to go. And in the first words out of his mouth, he opens the door, he looks left, he looks right. He's like, "Do you know where we can get any good blow?"
Oh, Jesus.
Like, "No, sir, I don't." And that's my Great White story. So fast forward to 2020. And I sure hope I can say that on the radio. They'll let me know if I can't. So fast forward to 2020. And we, Great White, with a new lead singer, because, of course, that guy is not in the band anymore. They're getting ready to go on stage. They are literally walking.
We're all waiting.
We're all waiting. We're right on the side of the stage, hanging out with the director of the fair, and all that stuff. Just chatting, having a great time, talking about Save JXN concerts, the fair, everything going on. And the lead singer falls flat out. And they're like, "What's going on?" And they're protecting him and they're hiding him. Well, I'm not going to get into speculation because I that's not what we do here. But the new singer fell out right there with a seizure of some sort. They said it was a food allergy reaction.
Allergic reaction
to some food. Speculate all you want. But either way, Great White, in their traditional form, did not get to perform. So what was really cool, and you only get these once in a lifetime experiences unexpectedly. Great. If you're a hair metal fan, if you're not, I get it. You don't care about this. But if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, man, you knew who Great White and Slaughter were. These two bands got on stage together and ended up just kind of running through a bunch of classic rock hits.
They did a bunch of cover songs.
Yeah, a bunch of cover songs. And they really, I mean, the light show was awesome. It was almost like being at a rave. I mean, they did not let a little adversity knock them out and say, "We're sorry, no show tonight." You know, one of the first things I learned when I got into concert promoting was we brought Papa Roach out to Crazy 8. Papa Roach, for you that don't know, was one of the biggest bands in the world. And technically, they still are. They had 3 #1 hits last year.
They did.
Unfortunately, rock and roll is not as popular as it once was. But the first time they'd ever been to Mississippi, they came to our little club out in Byram. Had multiple #1 hits. They walked in, they see this little red barn. The bathrooms are right to the right of the stage, blocking the stage, basically. They look back, they're like, "Man, what the heck?" And one of the guys looked at us and said, "Dude, it's only rock and roll. Let's just have a good time." You know? And that really stuck with me. It's like, man, it's only rock and roll. Let's have a good time. And so the band's rocked out, and I just want to say thank you to Slaughter, to Great White, to the Fair Commission, Steve Lassiter, the whole bunch, Andy Gibson, the Agriculture Commissioner. You know, a lot of people were against the fair happening this year. Why, how could you do it? COVID. COVID. Face mask. Mask. That was my Max Headroom impression there. But look, every now and then, sometimes in life, you just have to say, "I'm over it. I'm going to get out and I'm going to live my life. And I'm going to stay in my cave and I'm not going to do anything."
I've barely been out since.
I know. Well, fortunately, you have a job where you get to work from home, so you know it's not as pressing for you to get out. So it was good to get you out. Because it's easy, and I'm not saying a knock on you. It's easy to get in that trap of not having to leave home. So you just don't leave home. Mm-hmm. I mean, any of us are guilty of that anytime. If you ever worked from home, you know how easy it is to slide in those pajamas and not slide back out of them. Mm-hmm. You know, I've done it. Hell, I slide right into mine every time I walk in the house. Like, let me put on my stretchy shorts.
Your stretchy pants.
My stretchy pants. So, look, I just say all that to say thank you to the State Fair Commission. Thank you to Andy Gibson, Steve Lassiter, the whole bunch, everybody that put that on this year. Against all odds, y'all you pulled out the fair. You did something in Jackson that the city didn't want, that a lot of people were hooting and hollering about, a bunch of Corona bros and crazy Karens, you know, and mask warriors. And you know what's funny? I got down to the fair and I was just sitting back at the beer stand watching people go up and down the midway. I see white people, black people. We had a whole group of Choctaws sitting at the table beside us, hooting and hollering and drinking and having a great time.
They did, yeah.
Just a great time. And the first thing I thought about was the fact that I forgot about all the chaos in the world. There were people with their mask on. Mm-hmm. Look, I don't have a problem with masks. If you want to wear yours, by all means, boo-boo, wear it. I'm not making fun of you, unless you're riding in the car by yourself with it on. But if it makes you feel safer, wear it, by all means. But it was cool. It was a lot of people just having fun, pushing their baby carts around, dragging their babies in wagons, you know, having fun. There was people dressed in outfits that they probably should have left in high school, you know. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I haven't been a big fan of the fair the last few years. I think that just comes with age and not liking to be around big crowds and stuff. But I didn't want to miss the show this year. I was like, and the fact that if they had the kahunas to have the fair, and me being who I am, hooting and hollering about get out and live your life and do stuff.
We needed to be there.
We had to be there. I wanted to support it. We didn't ask for nothing for free. You know, we could have got in free. I could have made one phone call, but it's $5, bruh. You know, I got too much pride to ask to get in free when it's only $5. I think with parking, it was $15. Funny story. And I told this on our live stream the other night. We walked around the whole place looking for a gyro. Because a couple vendors didn't make it this year. They just didn't want to roll the dice. So we finally found the gyro stand buried in the back of the place, right next to the Midway office. And it's managed by, I think, the Midway, the North American Fair folks, the old Faro amusement people. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of the restaurants or the food vendors down there this year. It's owned by them. So anyway, we got our gyros. Really nice folks. They're out of bags, but neither here nor there.
They weren't out of bags.
And Chris was like, they weren't out of bags. I don't think they were out of bags either, but you know, whatever. The food was good. It was late. We're walking out. We get almost back to our car, and I see the Malone's Taffy stand. I'm like, we gotta get some taffy. Crystal's daughter, Gracie, loves taffy. Really, everybody that eats taffy loves it, so there's nothing weird about that. We stopped by there, and there's a girl working behind the counter with a face mask on. I was like, can I get 2 boxes of taffy? She's like, why haven't you done your show yet? You said you were doing a big show tonight. You even got on Facebook Live and said, big show tonight. And here you are at the fair. I don't even know her name. She never took her mask off, but I thought it was so cool to run into somebody. And we're spending money with them. And they're like, why aren't you doing your show? So we came home. We bought 2 boxes of taffy. I sent my daughter back last night to buy 2 more because we're giving some away on our Facebook page. Mm-hmm. We got home and we did a show in honor of the Malone's Taffy girl. Mm-hmm. Because I felt so obligated at that point that we had to do a show. So, but it's just another great example. That is a legendary, locally owned business there, the Malone's Taffy people. I mean, awesome. There is much of... Who's more popular? Malone's Taffy or Pins? Just at the fair. Like,
at the fair?
At the fair. What is more...
Malone's Taffy.
Malone's Taffy or Chicken on a Stick?
Malone's Taffy.
Malone's Taffy? I can get with that.
I mean, just because normally you don't buy it except at the fair.
Yeah, I don't know where you get it. I mean, you may be able to order it.
You can order it online, but it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good question. We should put that on a poll. Mm-hmm. What is your favorite fair food? And you really just narrow it down to those.
What is your favorite fair food?
Okay, the sweets, Malone's taffy. Mm-hmm. As far as like sweet stuff. Mm-hmm. Real food that you can chew into. Yeah. Of course, I like I was telling you the other night, the chicken on a stick from Penn's is better at the fair than it is at the gas stations and restaurants. It's just, I don't know if it's that it comes out 100% fresh or it hasn't been there for even a few minutes or what it is. Maybe it's just the whole atmosphere, the lights, the smells and everything just make it taste better. But with that said, there's a gyro stand that was not there this year. It's just one of those little pull behind trailers with a big sign on the top that says gyros. No name. I couldn't tell you. And I'm not telling you it's as good as Kiefer's or Krolakis or any of those local places. But I eat those so much throughout the year that it's a nice change.
Right.
And they're huge.
Well, my favorite is the Polish dog with the sauteed onions and peppers. And as far as sweets, I like the elephant ear with the powdered sugar. Yeah,
you can't go wrong with that at all. I was thinking about that. I almost said that. And I don't even know. I mean, you could probably count that as a whole nother food item. I don't really get into all the crazy fried fair food stuff like fried Oreos and fried hamburgers with donuts on them. And look, I've had all of it because I'm a weirdo and I like to try weird foods like that. Anything fried and pastry together, you got my attention. But it's not what I go for. But if somebody's trying it and it's there, I'm like, yeah, I'll try a fried Oreo. I'll try.
Do you like the Polish dog with the onions and peppers and?
Yeah, so
it's so good.
I love bratwurst, and it's very similar to a bratwurst, and especially done right, like they do it there on the big cookers with the peppers and onions and everything. I do, but there's just stuff I like just enough more that's also available there that it's hard for me to go with the Polish dog. But
I don't know. It's my favorite.
If we go back Sunday before it ends, I'll try a Polish dog. Just for you.
We could half it.
We could.
Because it's a lot of food.
All right. So, we got all the good fun stuff out of the way. I could talk about fair food all day.
Yeah.
We probably have people right now, we're 27, almost 28 minutes in, and people are like, would y'all please get to the Saving Jackson stuff? It's more like the watching Jackson burn. But here we go. All right. So, Crystal. Jackson is at 104 homicides. As we record this on October 15th, it's Thursday night.
Right.
104 homicides.
Right.
So let's put that in perspective. The record was 92 in 1994. I believe it duplicated that back-to-back years in 95 as well. Somebody can confirm that. I'm not going to do it. Do you know how many COVID deaths there have been total in Hinds County? All of Hinds County?
I do not.
170 in all of Hinds County. That's Byram, Clinton, Jackson, everything.
What is the total for Hinds County?
170.
Okay.
And 104 homicides.
Okay.
So let's break that number down just a little bit here. 73 of those 170 COVID deaths were at long-term care facilities. So hospice, retirement homes, etc.
Nursing homes.
People who have kind of prepared themselves to move on that are within the last chapter of their lives. So that leaves 97 COVID deaths that were just regular Joes walking up and down the street. Me, you. People that were not in long-term care facilities.
Okay.
So Jackson alone, not Hinds County, Jackson has had 104 homicides. That is 7 more deaths due to murder
than COVID
in all of Hinds County if you exclude long-term care facilities.
Right.
Absolutely unacceptable. You know, we talked about this on our live stream on Facebook last night, the Jackson Uncensored show. Mm-hmm. And we talk about it pretty much every night. Be sure you're tuning into our Facebook show, Jackson Uncensored. Go on there, hit the notification bell. We go on at least 3 times a week. So, we talk about a lot about what do you do? How did we get to this point? Of course, a lot of it falls on politicians, lack of police, empathy, just everybody pawns it off on the next person. It's nobody's responsibility. It's socioeconomic. It's race. It's this. It's that. It's everybody's fault, but the people whose fault it actually is, according to those people. Mm-hmm. So, like again, last night we talked about it, and I'm at the point where I'm convinced that we're in the second generation of babies having babies that ain't ready to have babies. Mm-hmm. There ain't no big mamas anymore. You know what I say? Big mama ain't on the porch knitting a pot handle anymore. Big mama's in the club pee-popping on a handstand. She's 25, 35.
They're not out there shelling peas.
No, Big Mama ain't shelling peas at all.
Which is what mine did.
Mine as well. I had a Big Mama in the family.
Me too.
You know, and there is not that strong person leading a lot of these children's families anymore. It's just the streets are raising these kids. You've got 9 and 10-year-old kids looking up to 13 and 14-year-old kids who are out there robbing, stealing, and killing. You know, we've broken down these numbers before. 17 seems to be a very pivotal age in the urban community here in Jackson when it comes to crime and murder and violence. Mm-hmm. Lots of 17-year-olds are doing the killing, and lots of 17-year-olds are being the one being killed. So it tells me that that's right about the age that people are dropping out of school, getting into trouble.
It's probably a year or 2 before that, honestly.
Yeah, because your first crime's probably not murder.
No.
So yeah, it is.
It's a build up.
It's a build up. You know, there's gateway crimes, just like there's gateway drugs.
Mm-hmm. I would guess 15 to 16 they start.
Yeah. I know when I started messing up and breaking the law and running with the people I wasn't supposed to, I was about 15 years old. I got my driver's license, started cruising up and down McDowell Road, seeing the older guys fighting. And this ain't just a black thing. It's a white thing. It's a kid's thing, period. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do. This is not a race thing. Even though in Jackson it is 95, 96 or more percent African American, that's not what this is about. This is just simply about...
Well, it hasn't always been that way.
This is where we live, so this is what we discuss. Mm-hmm. You know, race is irrelevant to it, in my opinion. When I was growing up in Jackson, it wasn't much different. We weren't killing each other, though. No. You know, you were beating the crap out of each other. You might be
fighting each other.
You may catch an aggravated assault charge, simple assault. Yeah, but it wasn't murder. You know, it was just like that was never an option. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but it was.
Far and few between.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very rare. I only knew one guy that got violently killed growing up, and that was in a domestic thing, James Drake. You know, it was something to do with an ex-girlfriend and a new boyfriend and all that. I mean, literally everybody else that I knew that died was in car wrecks or accident, whatever the case, motorcycle wrecks. You know, suicides, stuff of that nature. It was never homicides. Until you start getting a little older, you know. But
yeah. Me and James went to school together.
Yeah, we did too. We went to Southwest Academy together. And
we went to St. Paul.
Yep.
Together.
Yeah. His sister Tanya managed El Chico's for a long time. I want to say his mom worked there too. I can't remember for sure, but I know Tanya worked there.
She did.
Good family. Really good family. I wonder, we'll have to touch base with them at some point and see how they're doing. But we just did not experience these things in Jackson in the 90s, even the early 2000s. I mean, I know in the urban communities it was happening more and more, but we've reached critical mass here now. It is happening everywhere. There's a murder map available on WLBT, like a heat map, and you can kind of see where all the murders are happening. They're happening. I say they're happening everywhere, and they are happening everywhere, but they are concentrated in that one area there, Medgar Evers, Dixon Road, Clinton Boulevard, through there, that sub 1, sub 2, Queens, up to 49 North, all through there.
Right.
It is it's that one general area. It almost looks like an organ when you look at it on the heat map. It's crazy. So I don't know, man. I've got all the hyperbole and everything, and I've run out of things to say about it. What do you do? I still say you bring in the National Guard, you bring in Operation Legend. You got to do something. You cannot just sit here and keep saying, well, you know, man, it just happens. It's domestic stuff. These are people that know each other. And you can't do that. You've got to say, screw this. We got to fix this. What do we do? Start arresting folks. Start holding people accountable. Start holding these judges accountable for letting these people back out. There ought to be something where if a judge lets a violent offender back off, and within a certain amount of time they go commit a violent crime, that judge is held responsible. Whether it's criminally or liable or physically responsible, and can be sued. You know, at some point we got to do something. Yeah. It's a morale killer for the police, law enforcement. They arrest these people, and before the ink can dry on the paperwork, they're back out on the streets on their own recognizance without even a bond. You can't do that. I talk to law enforcement all the time. I ran into a guy that I've known for 25 years at a gas station in Ridgeland yesterday, a cop, motorcycle cop, out in Ridgeland. And we had the same exact conversation. Ended up talking to that cat for 30 minutes at the register at a gas station. I ended up having to apologize to the people at the gas station for blocking the lane for 30 minutes. But it was just a great conversation. And, you know, law enforcement, they're down right now, man. They feel like everybody hates them. You know, and I'm like, man, just go. I would never encourage law enforcement to not go to work, but there's a part of me that says, man, just go strike. Just don't go. Get the blue flu. And let everybody learn for about 2 or 3 days just how important you are. But most law enforcement, like we talk about nursing, it's a calling. They ain't got that in them. They are not here to prove a point. Most of them are here because they want to protect people. They didn't sign up for this for the money. You know the money.
In nursing, you never ask somebody their political views.
Yeah.
You take care of them because they need help.
Yep. You know, I mean, these law enforcement, man, they're out there putting just like we praised all these nurses and doctors and stuff through COVID. Some of it rightfully, some of it a bit unjustified. You know, especially when all the ones at UMMC decided to go out front and get on their knee and throw the fist up to Black Lives Matter.
Not all nurses and doctors did that.
You know, the hashtag heroes.
Well, not all of them did that.
So but look, man, these police, they're out there on the front lines, and a lot of y'all have painted them the enemy. And, you know, I'm here to tell you, it's unacceptable. We've got to start treating these people like let's do it like this. Let's just say that treating police with respect keeps your family member from being homicide number 105. You know, because they very well could save your family member's life if they're in the right place at the right time. You know, I know that may seem a bit extreme, a bit dramatic, but it's no less extreme or no less dramatic than you telling me every time a cop pulls somebody over, that person's life is in danger. You know, the numbers would say otherwise. And that's what I'm going to go with is math don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie.
Okay.
And this isn't about you. You're looking at me like, what are you talking about? That's not me. I know. I'm talking to the people on the other side of the wall here. So, we get a lot of it. We hear a lot of it. And I'm just here to say that this platform, we support police. Just like everything else, there's bad apples. But
anything.
But you can't let one bad apple ruin all. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
No.
So keep that in mind. Just like it could be your son or daughter that dies out in the streets doing anything, they could also be, the police could be the son and daughter of anybody that gets killed defending your son or daughter. So just some food for thought. I'm getting a little off there, kind of tripping over my words a little bit, and I know that. I could edit this, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it in here just like that, because one thing we are here is real. For better or worse, we're real. And all right, so let's talk about our sponsors one more time.
Okay.
Speaking of Jackson, speaking of crime, speaking of that, if there's one thing about Jackson, it's I want to feel safe when I'm riding through it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know I've got my gun, I got my ammo, I got my mace, I got all that stuff handy. So, you know where I can get all that?
Yes, USA Pawn.
McDowell Road Megastore, USA Pawn. Check them out online at usapawn.com. Be sure to tell them that Save JXN sent you. Nick hooked us up with some awesome USA Pawn tumblers and stuff today. You can check those out on all of our social media outlets. They look awesome. All right. So one of the things that we have railed about since the day we started Save JXN, I even bought a drone just to take pictures of this one place because I didn't think I could get back there legally.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the old Southwest Holiday Inn up on Highway 80 around Ellis Avenue.
Right.
Traditionally, it was a very beautiful place growing up. Mm-hmm. I've been to proms, homecomings there. There used to be a car show.
I've been to several birthday parties there.
Yep, there used to be a car show there every year around October. It was just a really cool spot. Bunch of buildings, big pool in the middle. I mean, it was like a resort. So, Pearl Street AME Baptist Church, I guess it's a Baptist church, owns it. And they had let it go. It was overrun with prostitution and drugs and vagrants and crime and
all kind of not good stuff.
Yeah, any bad thing you can imagine, it was going on at the old Southwest Holiday Inn on Highway 80. Well, some great news. And as much heck as I've given them folks, I'm gonna say something good about it here. Now, I'm not going to apologize for anything I said to hold them accountable in the past. I meant what I said, and they did a terrible job of keeping their property up to date and clean and vagrant and drug free. So with that said, I'm going to read you a story here from WLBT. An abandoned property on Highway 80 could get new life next year. Thursday, an announcement was made that more funding is being put forth in the development of the old Holiday Inn Southwest. This abandoned hotel has sat vacant for almost a decade. There have been numerous problems with vagrants on the property, so this is good news. The Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas and Trustmark National Bank announced they've awarded a $750,000 affordable housing grant to Gulf Coast Housing Partnership to convert the Holiday Inn into a 75-unit development for seniors. The community will consist of 5 buildings surrounding the courtyard, and in total there will be 53 one-bedroom apartments and 23 two-bedroom apartments, along with a manager center and a healthcare clinic. The entire project will cost around $14 million. Pastor Boyd of Pearl Street AME Church tells WLBT the plan is to demolish the tower and renovate the 2-story buildings behind it for assisted living facilities. And plans are for it to open in 2022. So good news there. We hope they follow through with that. We hope it happens. They're only $13,250,000 away from their $14 million goal. But hey, $750,000 is a dang good start, and it's more money than I have. So with that said, let's move on to some other good news here. This isn't Jackson related, but it is Mississippi related, and this podcast or radio show, depending on how you're consuming it, is very much about Mississippi. Biloxi is getting a $1.2 billion Universal Music Group Resort and Casino. This thing, if you have not seen the pictures, you can see it on WLBT.com and just about any other news outlet in the state. This thing is gorgeous. I'm telling you, the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh. He is given. He took away the coast with Katrina, and he is given back with stuff of this nature. It is absolutely amazing. It's in the former Broadwater resort area there down on the coast. Absolutely beautiful. They're going to have what looks to be about a 20,000 seat glassed-in arena with their hotel rooms wrapped around it, balconies so you can see everything. I cannot wait to attend a concert down there. It is going to be absolutely phenomenal. I don't know what to say. I'm trying not to say anything bad about Jackson, but good Lord, you got the coast getting stuff like this, and there's great stuff coming to Jackson. I talked about it earlier with the federal courthouse project, the Walthall Lofts, and a lot of that stuff going on in the downtown business district. Fondren's funky. There's some fun stuff there if that's your thing. But man, this is something on a whole nother scale that starts to put you in the same breath as places like Las Vegas. I know we're talking about one resort, not an entire strip, but sometimes all it takes is that first brick to get laid, and the rest opens up with cities like New Orleans tripping over themselves with coronavirus restrictions. You just never know. I fully anticipate seeing cruise ships start to permanently dock in and out of Biloxi and Gulfport and that whole Gulf Coast region. It's going to be really, really cool over the next couple of years to see what happens down there. So bringing things back up here to Jackson, we did something that I consider one of the coolest things or most rewarding. I use the word cool too often. I'm an adult. I probably shouldn't use the word cool all the time. But one of the most rewarding things that we've done since I started this page was interview Benny Ivy. Mm-hmm. He came over here to the house, sat right there where you're sitting, for almost 2 full hours with us. And Benny is the former leader of the infamous gang, the Simon City Royals. He was a captain of the Mississippi, whatever you want to call it, the Mississippi version. And Benny, I grew up with him in South Jackson, known him for 20-something years. We weren't never best friends by no stretch of the imagination, but we always knew who each other was. We were familiar. Never had a problem with Benny. Well, he in and out of jail, on and off for about 11 years. Got out, got involved with some good folks, got his life together, got a job, stuck with it, talked about digging ditches and plumbing and all this stuff, and wanted to quit and just didn't, and just stuck with it. And it was really inspirational.
It was.
And now Benny is involved in a group called Strong Arms Jackson. And what they do, they're a violence intervention group. And that gets made fun of by some people around here. And if you don't know what all they're really doing, you could be like, oh yeah, I get it, man. Whatever. How can you have a violence intervention group when we're sitting here at record murders and everything else? But then he really sat here and broke it down to me, and nobody's as pessimistic as I am. Mm-hmm. And I left out of that interview ready to run through a brick wall and join Strong Arms Jackson. Mm-hmm. What they're really doing, at a deeper core level, and their mission statement, it was absolutely inspirational. And COVID kind of knocked them off track a little and delayed everything. Mm-hmm. So you kind of got left with this, they're violence intervention, like they're supposed to be breaking up fights in the city and preventing crime and stuff. And that is something that they are absolutely willing to do. If you know some people that are about to get at it, you can call these cats, man, and they are willing to come in and try to, if they've got somebody in that area,
they will intervene.
And I'm telling you, these cats that I know that are involved are the real deal, and they will do that. So anyway, I just say, you can go back and you can listen to that. It's on our Facebook and YouTube channel, and I'm going to upload it as a podcast as well. So that's Benny Ivy with Strong Arms of Jackson, former leader of the Simon City Royals. And
Which I gave him apple pie and hugs.
We did. We had Church's chicken, apple pie, and hugs, and just had some of the best conversations that we've ever had. We really did. So look, we're going to bring this thing to an end here. We're running out of time. We had a bunch more things we wanted to talk about, but we filled it on up and got through another show. We missed last week. We got booted off the radio for LSU. So, I mean, hey, how many other people can say, well, we were going to have a show, but LSU football came first. So, that's pretty cool. I can deal with that, especially, with being a Mississippi State fan, you never get tired of seeing LSU lose.
Right.
So, I know this is an LSU radio station, so I'm just picking at y'all a little bit. Y'all have gotten the best of us for so long. So, with all that said, look, check us out online at Save JXN. That is on all your social media outlets: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Parler, Twitter, LinkedIn, everything. We'll never be on TikTok. We ain't doing it. We ain't on Snapchat. We ain't doing it. I'm 40-something years old. I'm over all that. You could stream this show live on the radio every Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon on WYAB.com, or listen live at 103.9 FM in Jackson, Mississippi. You cannot miss this. This will be can't miss radio before we get done. I promise you. The Save JXN Podcast is available at all major podcast outlets: iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean. You name it, we are on all of them. And hope you go download. Hope you hit the 5-star button. Hope you subscribe. If you want to advertise on this show, you can reach me directly at savejackson@gmail.com, or send us a DM on any of our social media outlets. Again, support our sponsors. These guys are all local, locally owned, locally operated, doing the thing for the city. USA Pawn, 6 local stores here in the metro area. USAPawn.com. The Gym at Byram, the best fitness center in Mississippi, in my opinion. You can reach them at 601-372-2229, or at the Gym at Byram on all social media outlets, and www.thegymatbyram.com. Last but not least, my good buddy Danny White at Father and Son Southern Lawncare. Danny is born and raised right here in South Jackson. Locally owned, locally operated. If you need your yard cut, manicured, trimmed, fertilized, anything year-round, give Danny a call. 601-301-3210. With that said, I'm Clay Edwards. This is Crystal Edwards. We love Jackson. We support Jackson. And we are here to save Jackson.